Welcome, my name is Maureen Meredith. I am the Plan Amendment Planner for this Plan Amendment case that's going to be discussed tonight, NPA 2020-0014.02. Please let us know who you are in the chat box. We will use this as a sign-in sheet. There is a little call out that you see circled in red. We ask that you mute your microphone if you're joining by phone. If you are participating online, we also ask that you turn off your video. It seems to help preserve some bandwidth as we go through the presentations. So how to participate today. There is a speech bubble in the menu about in the first slide. So at the bottom of the screen, it will open a chat box where you can type your questions at any time. After presentations, you can click on the raise hand icon to be called to speak if you'd like to ask your question in person instead of typing it in. So we're going to introduce the staff, applicants, and any agents that are applicants and agents that are participating tonight. Again, my name is Maureen Meredith, manager.
Hi, I'm Jesse Gutierrez. I'm with the planning and zoning staff, and I'm here to help out to facilitate questions as they kind of come up in the chat box.
And I'm Michael Whalen. I am representing the owner along with Michael Gaudini.
Hello. I'm Michael Galdini, and I'm representing the owner along with Michael Whalen.
Bethany, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Bethany Fidel. I'm with Burleson, and we are the landowner. Thanks for having us.
Okay, thank you. So we will go ahead and start with staff presentation. After the staff presentation, we will move to the agent's presentation, and then we will open the floor to question and answers. What we will do is during the presentation, if you wanted to type in your question, what we will first start with after when we open the floor to Q&A, we'll go to the typed questions. After the questions, we will open the floor to people who want to speak. So again, my name is Maureen Meredith. I am the case manager for the Plan Amendment case. Wendy Rhodes is the zoning manager. She is not participating in this meeting tonight. The website you see in red, the speakupaustin.org/MPA, that is where you can find the recorded meeting within 5 days after tonight, where you can review the meeting if you wanted to do that. So the agenda tonight is I will go in a little bit more detail, the case information, go over some guidelines for group discussion, how to participate in the process, why there is a plan amendment application, what is a future land use map. Then we will have the applicant do their presentation. Then we will open the floor to the questions and answers. So as you know, this property is located in the Southeast Combined Neighborhood Planning Area in the Southeast Subdistrict. The property address is 7800 Burleson Road. It's about 15.15 acres. Again, the case number is NPA 2020-0014.02. The request is to change a future land use map from industry to mixed use. Here is the zoning case number C14 2020-01.01. The request is to change the zoning on the property from limited industrial conditional overlay neighborhood plan to community surface mixed use neighborhood plan for a mixed use multifamily and ground floor commercial development. Here we have the property owners, and the agent is on Bruce Brown, Michael Whalen, and Michael Galdini, who introduced themselves earlier. So guidelines, due to the need for social distancing, in-person questions and comments have been moved to this online format. This will allow everyone a chance to speak. Please listen respectfully and actively. Criticize ideas, not individuals. Commit to learning, not debating. Avoid blame, speculation, inflammatory language. Avoid assumptions about each other, especially based on their perceived social group. The staff reserves the right to delete offensive language and remove offenders from the meeting. I must note that we have not had any problems with any participants thus far with our online meetings. So we hope that moves forward in that. Please feel free to type your questions into the chat box at any time during this meeting. After staff and applicants' presentations, if you would like to speak, please raise your hand by clicking the hand symbol in the menu bar. Telephone participants will be able to speak during the Q&A session of the meeting. Attendees will be muted upon arrival and through the staff and applicants' presentations. Then staff will open the floor to any questions that are in the chat and through attendees raising their hands, and the questions will be answered at that time. Any similar questions may be grouped and answered together. We ask that you please mute your microphone when you're not speaking for the sake of sound quality and clarity of conversation. Also, if you could please turn off your video until you are called upon to ask a question. This seems to help with the bandwidth. If you want to not turn on your video and ask your question, that's fine too. So how to participate in this process. If you have questions after this meeting, they will be answered and made available by request within 5 business days and also posted to the website. Email or call the case manager with any questions or comments that you might have. If you'd like your written comments added to the case reports, we can do that. You will get a notice in the mail of the date and time of the Planning Commission and City Council public hearings if you live within 500 feet. The notice will have instructions on how you can participate in these virtual public hearings. So why is there a neighborhood plan amendment? Neighborhood plans are adopted by City Council as amendments to the Imagine Austin Comprehensive Plan. City Charter requires zoning changes to be consistent with the Comprehensive Plan. Most neighborhood plan amendments are changes to the future land use map, and most neighborhood plan applications have an associated zoning application. So this map shows in blue areas that have City Council approved neighborhood plans, most of which have a future land use map. This is a future land use map. These colors represent broad land uses upon which certain zoning districts are considered compatible. So yellow represents a broad land use of single family, pink office, brown mixed use, orange multifamily, purple industrial, and blue civic. These are examples of some land use colors you would see on a map. This chart shows the zoning districts that are considered compatible with the land use categories. So right now the property is zoned limited industrial and the future land use map is showing purple, and that represents an industry or industrial land use. The proposed zoning of commercial service mixed use would be a brown land use, and that would be considered consistent with the proposed zoning of commercial service mixed use. So this is just an aerial photo that shows the property. This is a Google map that shows the property and some of the surrounding uses. This is a future land use map. Underneath that blue hue, the land use is a purple, which is industry. And here's a zoning map that shows the limited industrial conditional overlay zoning that is on the property. This map shows where the property lies in relation to the Imagine Austin Comprehensive Plan Growth Concept Map. So it lies within the McKinney Center and Job Center. So next we will go into the presentation by the applicant's agents, and I will escape this screen. I will stop sharing my meeting and we will go to Michael Whalen's presentation.
Thanks, Maureen. Michael, do you want to pull that up real quickly?
Yep, I am.
Hey, Jason, welcome.
Hmm.
Is on as well, and somebody with an 08 phone number is on as well. I don't know who that is.
Can you hear me? This is Francis Acuña.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm on the phone, so I'm not sure what's going on yet.
We're about to start
And the
applicant's presentation. We're about to pull it up.
okay. And the 08 number is, it's me, Michael.
Oh, okay, cool.
It wasn't coming up, so I just exited out of the PowerPoint. Try to bring it back. Hang on. There it is. All right, perfect. Okay. Can you all see that on your end?
Yep, that looks great. So first, thank you to Maureen and Jesse for organizing this and hosting it tonight. And thanks to everybody who's jumped on for this evening. I've shown this already. I think everybody who's been to the contact team has seen this, so I'm going to go quickly so we can get to any questions, any additional questions other than the ones that you had previously. As I already indicated, I'm Michael Whalen, and I represent the applicant on this case. And with me tonight is Michael Gaudini from Armbrust & Brown as well, and Bethany Fidel with Burleson Chen, the owner of the property. Again, I know many of you heard this presentation at the contact team a couple of weeks ago. And when we checked in last week, I think it was a Monday night, there weren't any other additional questions, but certainly open to answering anything that anybody else may have as well. So at a high level, we have a property at 7800 Burleson Road that currently allows mainly industrial uses, and we would like to instead provide a mixed-use project with about 250 housing units above ground floor commercial, which we believe would provide a more community-friendly project than an industrial site. Importantly, and you'll see a chart that shows this in a bit, our request would not increase the allowable height or the building envelope. Those would remain the same. Our main request is to prohibit industrial uses, but allow residential and commercial uses. So the next slide will show you the site. And as you already heard, it's about 16 acres. It's on Burleson Road. The current zoning, which is the next slide, and you can see here it's divided up into two categories. The first category is the LICONP, which is an industrial zoning district that covers most of the site. There's also a smaller portion of the site that already has been zoned GRMU, which again would allow residential and commercial, though today it is limited only to that small blue colored area of the site. The rest of the site is LICO. So basically what we're trying to do is make the entire site GRMUNP, which is our request. This would remove the industrial zoning from the site and instead provide what we believe would be the mixed use zoning that would allow commercial and multifamily on the site. I wanted to go to the next slide and again remind you of the site constraints. There are many parts of the site are in the airport overlay. You can see here the floodplain takes up a big portion of the area. That's the blue colored area is the floodplain. And the critical water quality zone is the purple hatched area, which is beyond the floodplain. So we would have to stay away from all of these areas and instead would be building on the remaining area, which is right up against Burleson Road. You can see that area that's outside of the hatched area, outside of the blue, and outside of the airport overlay. So the next chart is a request again. This is a chart that I mentioned earlier. It shows the comparison between the industrial zoning that we currently have on most of the site and the mixed use zoning that we are requesting. And as you can see, the height, building cover, impervious cover, the floor to area ratio, they all remain the same. The main difference would be that we would be providing residential and commercial uses instead of industrial. That's the very last line there where it says allowed uses. But everything else would be the same in terms of site development regulations. So just to recap on the last page, it's already partially zoned GRMU. This proposal would deliver, we think, a more community-friendly project by making the mixed use consistent across the whole site. And it would maintain the same height, building envelope, and other standards that are already in place and allowed today. So the big thing, of course, would be getting rid of the industrial uses on this particular site, especially given the fact that we've got a tributary basically right there, as you saw from the site constraints. So that's all I've got. And Maureen, I'll turn it back to you to answer, and we're all available, Bethany, Michael Gaudini, and myself, to answer any questions. Okay.
Maureen here again. I just want to apologize. I noticed in my presentation I had the proposed zoning as CSMU. I think I got that from the plan amendment application, but your zoning application did say GRMU.
Yeah, what happened is we realized we didn't need to go to a higher zoning category. We already had the GRMU, and there's we just wanted to be consistent with what was already there and for which there already is precedent.
Okay, so I apologize for that. I should have double checked with the zoning application. So let's see. I'm looking in the chat. Did you have any, Jesse, do you see any questions in the chat that I'm missing?
No, but I just wanted to make sure that whoever was joining via phone, that I did put you on mute for a second during the presentation. And if you want to speak or ask a question, you can go ahead and unmute yourself by hitting *6 on your phone. And I believe that might have been Ms. Acuna.
Okay. So if anybody has any questions that is online or on the phone, if you're online, if you can raise your hand. If you're on the phone, you can just go ahead and speak. No questions?
I don't think we have any questions because, I mean, Michael already presented it to the contact team, and it looks like the people that are here are people from the contact team. And actually, I realized that there's two of us that have an 08 number. It's myself and Francis, I believe. So.
Okay. So just making sure there's nobody outside of the planning contact team that wasn't part of that initial presentation. So just going to be a quick meeting. Is there anything that y'all would like
Michael,
to?
I guess I can ask one question. Michael, have you gotten a sense from city staff if they're agreeing to this request, or have you heard anything?
Yeah, I have not heard anything. I sent to you late today because earlier today when we were going through the mechanics of how this works, just so that we knew how it worked, Maureen and Mark Walters kindly went through it, and I mentioned the industrial district question that you had raised, and I sent to you late today the report that had been presented to ZAP and the Planning Commission for you to circulate to the rest of the contact team. This site is in one of the districts that is, as you thankfully told me and mentioned to me, is in one of the districts identified for industrial use. And I'll let Maureen speak to this, but Mark told me that it's a high-level document. Each site is looked at individually, and I emphasized to Mark and to Maureen that our site is heavily impacted by a floodplain and critical water quality zone, and it really wouldn't make much sense to put an industrial site kind of right on top of of the critical water quality zone. And I think Mark was open to, no decision has been made, and they're certainly going to look at that as an element of their decision making. But I'll let Maureen answer that if she wants to differently.
Well, I was just going to say, no, we have not reviewed this request as a staff team meeting that's scheduled for this Thursday. So we will meet and discuss the case and make a preliminary recommendation on the proposed flum change. Then we will pass that recommendation on to the zoning planners, and then Wendy Rhodes will take it to her zoning team. Then we will finalize a recommendation. I suspect that would hopefully happen next week, but it kind of depends at that point when the zoning planners are able to make their final decision. So to answer your question, Anna, no, staff has not made a recommendation yet.
Okay, okay, great. Well, and the reason I found out about the industrial zoning issue was because of another case that we had where that came up. So, and of course, staff were not, well, they were opposing this change because of the industrial issue. Now, I just want to say, kind of like sort of switching hats from contacting to ZAP a little bit. The report was sent to the ZAP commissioners, but it was not presented to the commission for us to act on it. So it seemed like it was just an FYI. So I don't know if the intent was for it to be presented for us to discuss. So that, yeah, if somebody told you that it was presented, it was not presented. The report was just sent to us.
Okay, so yeah, Mark Walters did that. I'll follow up with him.
Yeah, because if we were
on
supposed to act on it, it probably needs to get put on the agenda for us to discuss.
So it was not on an agenda, he just sent it to you, but there was no
Yes.
staff presentation?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't, yeah, if the intent was for us to act on it, we haven't. And it has not been on the agenda.
Okay, I'll ask him about that.
Okay, awesome. Okay, now I'll take my ZAP hat off. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So Jesse, can you think of anything before we conclude the meeting?
I would just say a big thank you again to everybody from the contact team that's here. And of course, Anna, at the next contact team meeting, I hope that we will have earned your support so that we can share that support as well with Maureen and with Wendy, the zoning case manager. But again, big thank you for doing so, and I'll hopefully see you all at the next contact team meeting if it's necessary. I don't know whether you can do a vote via email, but we can talk offline about that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, we have to, vote on it or act on it before, earlier rather than, before the contact team meeting. Then let me know so that we can schedule another one. Awesome.
Okay.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah, so just the next step. So after staff finalizes the recommendation, we'll work with Michael on Prospective Planning Commission dates. And Anna, since you're the chair of the planning contact team, if you're going to submit a letter at recommendation, we would need that a week prior to that actual planning commission hearing, so we can add it to the staff report. And I'll contact you on that and give you more definitive deadlines once we find out what date.
Great.
And anything else that y'all can think of that you might need to know?
No, thank you, Maureen. Just give me, as soon as you know what date, so that I can, if we need to we normally meet on the second Monday of the month. So if we need to meet earlier than that, let me know so that I can send a quick email to Jason so he can send it out to the rest of the members for us to meet and have a special call meeting.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay, well, that was a short and sweet meeting. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think.
I'm sorry, there's another question?
No, I just wanted to say thank you for taking your time to come in and update us on this. And I'm sorry I keep pushing buttons and I don't understand. I'm new at this, so but I do thank you, and thank you, Anna, for making all this happen.
Oh no, thank you. Awesome, thank you, Maureen, thank you, Michael, and
Okay.
Bethany.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
for everyone that's listening, this has been recorded, so it will be up on the website in case you missed like something in the beginning or want to watch it again. It'll be available.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everybody have a nice evening.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.